Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online regulation I VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be showcasing a very unique restricted duo that recently won the 2025 North American International Championships in the Juniors division. This team features the unique combination of Life Orb Koraidon with Lefty's Calm Mind Terapagos. Both of these restricteds are actually often paired with Calyrex Shadow Rider in this format, but turns out they actually work really well together. The theory is that Terapagos matches up very nicely into a lot of common Pokemon and strategies in the format, but it really does not like going up against fighting type attackers, especially Pokemon like Zamazenta as well as Urshifu. Koraidon does a really good job of threatening a lot of common fighting type attackers and also enabling other Pokemon that can deal with those Pokemon. For example, Fluttermane as well as Rocky Helmet, Morning Sun Volcarona. Joaquin R took this team to a first place victory at NAIC, and honestly, it was incredible to watch and even cooler to see a restricted duel that basically very few people have been utilizing in this format take home an international title. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, I'd really appreciate if you consider leaving a like on the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's get started. Before starting this video, I just wanted to give a quick plug to two different podcasts that I was recently on. The first is VGC Reflections, which is a podcast that I've started with Marcus Statter a couple of months ago. It's been a while since we've been able to record an episode because we've both been really busy and live in different time zones, but we finally got a new episode out, and this one was really fun. We talk about how Marcus was able to get his 10th invitation to Worlds, his 10th consecutive invite, especially in a season where he thought he might not qualify for Worlds. We also talked about what we thought the metagame going into NAIC would look like, and some of our predictions for what the future might look like as well, and talked a little bit about things like champions and balancing casting and playing as well. So the project that Marcus and I want to continue to build up, so it would mean a lot if you checked it out. Give the channel a sub, and we are also on the common podcasting platforms. In addition, I did a separate podcast with Charlie Merriman, who is one of the most notable casters over in Europe. He has this really awesome channel and covers a lot of different content creators in the Pokemon space, ranging from VGC to outside of VGC as well. So it was really awesome to talk about my life story with him, and I'll go link that down in the description below as well. Huge thank you to Charlie for inviting me onto his channel. And so, yeah, two different things, lots of Cybertron content if you want to hear from me a little bit more, and so please go check those out if you have the time and you're interested. If you're interested in trying out the team, the rental code is on the screen, and there's also an accompanying Pokepaste down in the description below. This team utilizes the unique combination of Koraidon and Terapagos, and of course Koraidon is designed to cover for a lot of the Pokemon that otherwise give Terapagos trouble. Volcarona also is a really nice supportive piece on this team, and with Koraidon and Volcarona, you'll have a much better time into common Pokemon like Zamazenta, as well as other fighting types like Urshifu and Iron Hands. Incineroar and Rillaboom provide double fake out support for Terapagos and also offer utility through grassy terrain from Rillaboom, allowing you to heal more and more, especially with the combination of leftovers, as well as Taunt from Incineroar. Fluttermane is a really nice offensive piece that often can be led with Koraidon, so you can pressure things like Icy Wind into Fire Terra Flare Blitz or close combat immediately and knock Pokemon out even if they're really fast before they get the chance to move. Overall, you have a ton of burst damage from this team with Fluttermane and Koraidon, but you also have some really good defensive pieces with Terapagos and Volcarona, and so it's about utilizing the combination of them to get to a victory. But overall, it's a really well-composed team, and especially one that I think is impressive to see win in the Juniors division. For some quick context, Joaquin R brought this team to the North American International Championships in 2025 and won the entire event in the Junior division. The Junior division, of course, is the 10 and under age category in competitive VGC, and I wanted to cover this team, first of all, because it features a really unique combination in Terapagos and Koraidon, but second of all, because I think the younger divisions in VGC just don't get as much love and coverage as they should, and as someone who grew up playing VGC, starting in the Juniors division, then aging up to Seniors, and now Masters, it's really cool to be able to get to follow the stories of other VGC players today, especially when they are in the younger age categories. Joaquin in particular, I thought picked a really phenomenal team for this event, and I can't stress enough, like, I don't think this is an easy team to use, so to see him pilot it so well and win the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals all 2-0 is a testament to how strong of a player he is. Definitely should be one of the top players to be watching for in the Juniors division this year at the World Championships. I'm also eager to follow his career from here on out, but huge congratulations to Joaquin for winning this tournament, and huge props for doing it with a unique restricted duel that basically no one else has been using so far in the format. Breaking down the team, the first Pokemon to highlight is Life Orb Fire Terra Koraidon. Question of the day, by the way, I want to know what your favorite moment was from NAIC down in the comment section below. Now, Life Orb Koraidon is just one of the most offensive attackers in the format. With Sun, with Life Orb, with Fire Terra, you can get so many one-hit knockouts on a common Pokemon in the format. In addition, it's one of the fastest Pokemon in the format, so it's really able to move before your opponents can. The downside of Life Orb Koraidon is that it will also faint very easily. If you click Life Orb Flare Blitz into something and knock it out, you take a ton of recoil damage from Flare Blitz and Life Orb, and then you're vulnerable to just getting KO'd afterwards. Similarly, when you click Close Combat, your defenses drop, and so Koraidon then will be vulnerable to getting knocked out immediately afterwards. So you have to be very careful about how you position this Pokemon, but overall, it is one of the strongest attackers in the format. Now, it's even scarier when paired with Flutter Mane because Flutter Mane offers really good offense with Moonblast and Shadow Ball, as well as Icy Wind being able to drop your opponent's speeds. This is classic max speed Flutter Mane. This gives you, of course, the speed photosynthesis boost, making Flutter Koraidon a really effective lead combo. This allows you to just Icy Wind, Fire Terra, Flare Blitz into Calyrex Shadow Riders, for example, before they even get the chance to get an attack off. This is by far the most offensive duo on this team, and so if you're looking for a restricted duo, or a lead duo that can just dish out massive amounts of damage immediately, it's going to be this on this team. The rest of the team is actually really defensive in nature. You've got Volcarona here, which is very, very helpful into fighting type attackers, especially Zamazenta. Zamazenta is easily one of the most annoying Pokemon for Terapagos to go up against because, of course, it can wall you. Body Press is so powerful after you've broken through the shell, and it also has Wide Guard, right? So it's really just one of Terapagos' worst matchups. Volcarona and Koraidon make it far more doable, right? Volcarona can redirect those body presses away, and every time you click body press, you have the chance of burning them. Rocky Helmet, of course, also activates, and the Volcarona here is Morning Sun. This is one of my favorite things about this team. Morning Sun, not a common move that you see on Volcarona generally, but it makes a lot of sense because this team has Koraidon to enable it, and you often will bring both of them into the battle. Even if you don't bring Koraidon, Morning Sun is still a good move, but because Koraidon comes out, so frequently, Volcarona can really capitalize off of it. This Volcarona is designed to be as physically defensive as possible, basically. Really good pick into Zamazenta, really good pick into other fighting type attackers like Iron Hands or Urshifu, for example. With Water Urshifu, you're going to have to consider Grass Terraing, obviously, to try to survive the Surging Strikes a little bit better. But even without Terra, your max HP and your max defense, you've got Flame Body, you've got Rocky Helmet, it's going to be a fantastic pick. The Rage Powder is going to be really valuable for redirection, and Struggle Bug's going to be really good into opposing setup special attackers. So opposing Calm Mind Terapagos, you're going to want to consider bringing this Volcarona as well. Terapagos, of course, is the second restricted on this team, and it's way slower pace, way more defensive than Koraidon. This is basically a very physically defensive set, which allows you to survive fighting type damage, right? Especially since you have Incineroar with Intimidate on this team. And the idea is to set up multiple Calm Minds, then click Star Storm, ideally, sometimes Earth Power. Just keep in mind that this Terapagos only has 76 special attack EVs, and so I found even when I get to +2 special attack, I'm still missing a lot of one-hit knockouts. But that's okay. It's not a Pokemon that needs to get one-hit knockouts because it's really bulky and often will stay on the field for so many turns. And so this is just a really defensive piece that can also set up, obviously, after a couple of Calm Minds. To enable it, you've got double Fake Out support from Rillaboom as well as Incineroar. This Rillaboom is actually Poison Terra rather than a Terra like Water or Fire, which are sometimes a little bit more common. Poison kind of gives you a nice defensive type into some other common offensive types, right? And also is just one that allows for example, Rillaboom to resist a Sludge Bomb from opposing Landorus's, or as well as resisting like Fighting type damage and Fairy type damage, for example. The Rillaboom here, fairly straightforward. You're often going to want to bring it for Fake Out support, but of course it also allows you to set up Grassy Terrain to heal Terapagos. This is going to be a really valuable pick often into the Miraidon matchups. You can get rid of their terrain, which is super nice, and U-Turn allows for good pivoting with it as well. Final Pokemon on the team is Incineroar. This is also fairly straightforward, basically near max HP, max defense with a little bit of speed. The one thing to call out here is that Incineroar actually doesn't have Parting Shot. It has U-Turn. And that might be a little bit surprising, but U-Turn is really nice for a couple of reasons. First of all, it does meaningful damage, right? You can U-Turn into something like an opposing Rillaboom, opposing Ogerpon, and opposing Champao. It also breaks through Focus Sash, which is really, really nice. And so we've actually seen U-Turn on Non-Assault Vest Incineroar a good bit in this format in particular. And you can obviously use Parting Shot as well, but the value prop of U-Turn is just being able to dish out a little bit of extra damage, which can be very important, especially in a format where Sturdy and Focus Sashes are everywhere, and in a format where there are actually a fair number of Pokemon that are weak to Bug. Safety Goggles here plus Taunt gives you a really nice matchup into Amoonguss, which otherwise actually gives Terapagos a ton of issues, right? Like, imagine a Water Terra Amoonguss on this, like, against the core offense of this team. You're really going to struggle against it, but Incineroar, of course, here has that Taunt to really be able to shut it down. So if you see Amoonguss or Brute Botted in Team Preview, you really want to think about Incineroar immediately. In terms of ways with playing with the team, I would definitely recommend watching the Junior Division Finals. I found that, you know, you can definitely lean into either of the modes with Flutter Koraidon immediately or Rilla Terapagos, Instant Terapagos. I think, like, these are some of the most viable leads. Sometimes I actually go, like, Terapagos Flutter main, where I want to get a sense of what my opponent's leading with and then play the game from there, right? So you can go Flutter main Terapagos with Koraidon and then one of these Pokemon in the back. If I think that I can lean more into the defense, I will switch Flutter main out into Instant or Rilla often, Calm Mind or Protect, then fake out Calm Mind and play the game from there. And if I feel like I can lean into offense, sometimes I can just switch Terapagos out for Koraidon and then start dishing out massive amounts of damage as well. Volcarona obviously offers redirection, so you can just go Volcarona Koraidon or Volcarona Terapagos if you feel like these Pokemon can really appreciate the redirection support. And so those are just a couple of modes that I personally tinkered with while playing with the team. So in terms of things to watch out for and things that I've struggled against, Koraidon definitely does not like going up against Rain, especially Rain Dance Tornadus. Rain Dance Tornadus can be really annoying because not only does it change the weather, but then Bleak Wind is also so powerful against this team, so that's one set that you'll want to be careful about in particular. Otherwise, Koraidon is vulnerable to a good defensive Terra, right? Like a good Water or Fire Terra to survive Life Orb Flare Blitz, or, of course, a Ghost Terra to take the close combat. Terapagos here has to worry about a couple things, right? Naturally, fighting type Pokemon and attacks, although this team does a really good job of covering for those, but you still have to be careful. Sometimes I find that Terapagos can often feel like dead weight when it's sitting on the field and just not really contributing much to the battle. You do have to really be wary of opposing ways to drop your special attack. So Snarl, right? Struggle Bug, those can be annoying for Terapagos. And then Terapagos also, like, is not the strongest from an offensive standpoint until after a couple of Calm Mind special attack boosts. And so if your opponents have ways to, like, deny the Calm Mind boost or get rid of them, whether it be Taunt or whether it be something like Clear Smog, that can be really annoying for you as well. Otherwise, I think bigger picture-wise, you know, games with this team can go on for a really long time. Terapagos, with its defensive nature, is very vulnerable to, like, RNG and getting unlucky, whether it be getting parried by Thunder Wave into full para or getting critical hits. So you'll want to watch out for that in particular as well. And sometimes I think with this team, a lot of the offense feels like it lies in Koraidon in the early game with Flutter Mane and then Terapagos after you set it up. But for example, if Koraidon goes down really early, or if you lose pieces too quickly, or if Terapagos, like, is not able to actually get a couple Calm Mind boosts quickly enough, you can really struggle as well. And so those are just a couple things I wanted to point out. We've got Zama, Tornadus, Shadow Rider, Chien-Pao, Rillaboom, Urshifu. This is basically very similar to one of the very first teams that I featured in this regulation. So if you want to see me play with actually a very similar archetype, check out the video link down in the description below. The main question I have here is whether or not there's going to be Rain Dance on the Tornadus. If so, that's going to be quite annoying for us to deal with. Like, I'd love to eliminate Tornadus first and then play the game from there. I'm trying to think what I want to drop in this matchup. I think Koraidon, Terapagos both come out. I think we probably don't bring Rilla. Volk normally comes out in the Zama matchup. So I'll be dropping both of my fake out users. It could be Incineroar here. There's no Flare Blitz. It does have U-turn. I think Instin's okay, but then I'd have to be dropping one of, like, I'd be dropping Flutter Mane or Volk, right? And I think I like both of those more. Okay, I'm gonna go with Terapagos, Flutter Mane lead, Koraidon Volk in the back. Part of the idea behind this is I want to see what they lead and then react, right? Like, normally I would probably lead Flutter Mane Koraidon. I don't love Flutter Mane Koraidon here, specifically because of the threat of Tornadus being able to Rain Dance immediately. Terapagos can start setting up, right? And it's going to be Zamazenta Tornadus, which I think I'm okay with. With this, I can pivot out into Volk pretty immediately. Okay. One of the other things is if we eliminate Tornadus quickly, like, I actually think this turn, you'd expect Tailwind, right? I'm leaning towards getting rid of Tornadus to get rid of any Rain Dance pressure. So just straight up Terra Starstorm here and Moonblast. And Zom protects, even better. The only risk of this would be like Bleak Wind Storm into Body Press. You'd have to be slower Zamazenta, right? So they actually go for Tailwind and Protect, which I'm more than okay with. Get Moonblast off there. Starstorm, double up onto the Torn, and that gets the KO. Okay, great. And the reason I'm prioritizing this is because Rain Dance often is carried on these Tornaduses. And by eliminating the Rain Dance threat, we should be in really good shape. I'm kind of shocked to see Protect on Zamazenta there on turn 1, honestly. But I'll take it as Urshifu comes out. Okay. I'm thinking here I want to go for a double switch. Volcarona in this slot, and then Koraidon in this slot. Now that I've eliminated the threat of Rain Dance, I can set up the Sun guaranteed. They can't change the weather, and that's a big deal. And this is part of the reason why this team has Koraidon and Volcarona, right? It's actually very rare to see Terapagos being paired with, like, non-Shadow Rider as restricted, and Koraidon in particular is really not that common with Terapagos, but you're really going to want this duel because otherwise Zamazentas are just so annoying for Terapagos, right? Yeah, especially because they can just consistently body press you. So we'll swap in Koraidon here. In an ideal world, they just launch all their attacks into the Terapagos slot, but I could see them, of course, launching like a Surging Strikes into the Flutter Mane, maybe a Heavy Slam. Terra commit here, okay. Let's see what type it's going to be. It's going to be on Urshifu into water. Makes sense. Gives you offense and defense into Flutter Mane Moonblast. Beautiful. Body press into us. And Flame Body does activate. That is why you run Volcarona, folks. And Rocky Helmet. And here's Surging Strikes. I actually don't even mind if it like targets the Volk slot, but it goes into Koraidon. Beautiful. Okay, we should be in very good shape then. Especially with that burn on Volk, but even without the burn, I would still feel super, super good. Partially because I think Volk is just such a good defensive tool against what my opponent has right now. So let's see. We are Grass Terra. Honestly, I think I could just go Grass Terra right now. Would they even click Surging Strikes? They might. I actually don't mind going Grass Terra. Morning Sun. They could switch in Shadow Rider right now, right? I am vulnerable like to body press and close combat, but would you really do that in front of a Volcarona? Seems kind of unlikely. Shadow Rider in the back. This should give us really good coverage. Yeah, Grass Terra. Morning Sun. And I actually want to get a Flame Charge off right now. And the reason for this is because I want to have the speed advantage against Shadow Rider in the end game. I think I also probably could have just gone Rage Powder Flame Charge this turn, honestly. So, like, the one play they could make here is close combat body press, double up into the Zama slot. Or, sorry, the Koraidon slot. They do crit the body press there. But it's going to be Surging. Okay, that's fine then. Nice. Yeah, this is just, like, the ultimate counter to Urshifu, right? And Flame Body just activates immediately as well, but you can now see why the Sun portion of this team is so crucial in supporting Terapagos. So now I get a speed boost, and I get to heal back up with Volcarona, and things are looking really solid for us. Late game Flutter Mane plus the Terapagos should also be really good in dealing with Shadow Rider, right? Flame Charge still does so much damage there, wow. Nice. We get our speed boost. And Morning Sun allows Volk to heal. And that's one of the coolest things about the Volcarona on this team, in my opinion. You don't see it that frequently, but it's just so good in a situation like this. And the burns, of course, just making things even easier for us, but that's part of the theory behind super bulky Volcarona. You will be able to get a fair number of burns. We're just lucky that they've activated like immediately in this game, basically. So last turn of Tailwind right now. I am happy to just launch another Rage Powder now. Or not another, the first, I should say. And go for... who would I rather target here? I mean, Zama gives wide guard support, I suppose. So I'm down to Rage Powder here, and then Flame Charge into Zama. But I think we've just built up such a strong position from this point. But Shadow Rider's like one of the Pokemon you just always have to respect, right? Because that's insane comeback potential. So Body Press comes out. More Rocky Helmet damage. I mean, Urshifu is actually just going to KO itself, I think, if it goes for Surging. But you probably should always be clicking Close Combat here. No reason to click Surging. Okay, speed drops a little, or HP drops a little bit. They do Close Combat here. You can see, we just take no damage. This Volcarona is so bulky, and this is one of the reasons why Volcarona can be an amazing pick in the format. It's been just an absolute nightmare for my opponent to deal with, right? Tailwind Peters out. Obviously, their last one's going to be that Shadow Rider. Yep. Cool. Shadow Rider probably protects here. I'm still happy to launch Flare Blitz into it with 2 turns of Sun left. Even if they're Focus Sashed, it's okay. And it's normally going to be Sash on Chimp. No, it could be Life Orb on Pow, actually. Yeah. It actually might be better, I think, to switch into Terapagos here. Yeah. I'm happy to switch into Terapagos and Blitz into Shadow Rider. The main reason for this is because I don't want them getting a boost by KOing both Koraidon and Volcarona. It's just going to be Aqua Jet, but in the sun with Burn, there's no way that KOs me. Yeah, that did 5 damage. Cool. So, Playful Flare Blitz comes out into the Shadow Rider, brings it down to Sash. Yep. That's fine. Cool. And this actually works out better because, yeah, Koraidon had just, I think it was 17 HP. So we actually faint from Life Orb, which is beautiful because now their Astral Barrage does absolutely nothing. Beautiful. We've got one more turn of Sun left, so I can just bring out the Flutter Mane now. Cool. They should double protect right now. Calyrex will move first. Close Combat won't KO us. Aqua Jet would obviously break Focus Sash on Flutter Mane. But that's fine. Yeah, I'm down to just Terra Starstorm, Urshifu, Shadow Ball, Calyrex. Calyrex protects, but that's fine. Because Calyrex is never going to beat the Terapagos, right? It is just double protect, yep. But that's okay. Now I think you have to Aqua Jet the Flutter Mane, so I could even switch it out into the Volcarona. Sacrifice it. And then that way it conserves Flutter Mane Focus Sash. That's okay. Especially because we have that burn on Urshifu, so I'm happy to just Earth Power here. Switch into Volk. Probably could have just actually attacked here, because if you go for Aqua Jet plus Astral, it means I just KO your Shadow Rider. I actually think I probably like attacking a little bit more there. But it is the Aqua Jet commit. Yep. Beautiful. Volcarona has done so much work in this game with Rocky Helmet. It's been unbelievable. So Urshifu faints. And Barrage finally gets to hit once in this game, but it's a little bit too late here, as Volcarona will faint. So I'm really happy to have been able to showcase this game, because it highlights exactly why Koraidon and Volcarona are very important pieces of this team, especially against Zamazenta teams. I think the game played out even better than expected because of turn 1 specifically, where my opponent did not go for the attack with the Zamazenta. It could have been a Heavy Slam and a Flutter Mane, or like a Body Press to break my shell, right? But by knocking out the Tornadus, it covered for the threat of Rain Dance. Rain Dance is just so good into Koraidon because it just immediately decreases so much offensive output from Flare Blitz and Close Combat, right? And like, it makes us so much weaker. It forces us to switch out, gets rid of photosynthesis speed boost on Flutterman as well. And then you just trade really negatively with Koraidon. And so the idea here was to, yeah, ideally bait the like damage to come out from Zama and then use the physical defense that we have on Volcarona to kind of weather the storm. Volk was extra clutch in getting all the flame body burns really early on, especially that one on Zamazenta. But yeah, the idea is even if we didn't, like, Volk is just so defensive that I should be able to just like Rage Powder pretty consistently and use the other Pokemon to like whittle down my opponent. And then Terapagos is obviously quite good into Shadow Rider in the end game. And so the way we sequence this, I think, worked out really well. We've got Ice Rider, Miraidon here with Grimmsnarl, Incin, Urshifu, and Ogerpon. Okay. What do we want to do here? Given that it's Miraidon, we probably want to bring the Rillaboom. Koraidon's really good offensively here. It's like all of our Pokemon are decent, so the main thing I'm mainly struggling with is figuring out who to drop. Like, Volcarona maybe, especially since we don't have Will-O-Wisp. Incin is interesting because it gives us Taunt, right? I'm intrigued by Fluttermane just because its offense is pretty good, but it honestly could just be Incineroar, Terapagos, Koraidon, so like double fake out Terapagos. I think I'm honestly down for that. Rilla, Terapagos lead. Incin, Koraidon back. This is, of course, one of the classic ways to play Terapagos, which is fake out, calm mind, fake out, calm mind, Terra, Star Storm, everything. And I think Incin provides us utility here because Ice Riders these days so frequently are like leftovers plus Leech Seed, so if that's the set, like Intimidate plus Taunt is so good in shutting it down. It's also good for getting us an Intimidate into Rock Ogerpon. Fluttermane's offense is good, but my opponent's team is fairly bulky, so I don't expect to be one-shotting anything with it, and that's kind of the key difference maker. It's going to be Rock Palm plus Ice Rider, so let's see if it's this Clear Amulet or not. Well, we'll have to find out after switching it Incin potentially on turn 1. I honestly think I could just go Fake Out Ice Rider, Calm Mind turn 1 here too. Like, that feels fine. Especially with Terra Shell. Fake Out, Calm Mind. Smarter than to not lead Miraidon here. I can switch in Incin turn 2, I think. Protect is what I'm leaning towards. Okay, Fake Out an Ice Rider. Whoa, they have knockoff on Ogerpon. Okay, that's obviously a really nice tech. Gets rid of my leftovers, which does slow down our healing pretty substantially. That's a little bit less than ideal. I don't love seeing that, but it's okay. Like, terrain recovery still here is pretty substantial, right? So, could be worse. Ah, you are leftovers. Okay, great. That's really good to know. I can U-turn now. But then it would mean this gets an attack off into us first. What I could also do is U-turn into you protect here. But it does risk Spiky Shield and Glacial. I think it's probably a little bit safer to just hard switch Incin here. The thing is, they could read the Incin switch in an Ivy Cudgel or Rillaboom slot is the thing. So, there is merit to both. U-turn breaking, this is quite nice. Sturdy. Okay, I think I'm okay going for U-turn protect here. Terapagos protects. They did Ivy Cudgel Rillo. Yeah, that's why I didn't want to hard switch into Incin. Okay, cool. It does mean a missed opportunity from Terapagos this turn, but that's okay. We'll get Incin in. My key question is whether or not this next turn they go for a... Like, I think they probably want to be clicking Leech Seed right now. Is my guess. Yeah. So I have Taunt, right? So I think I could just try to KO Ogre Pawn, taunt Ice Rider. Taunt into you. My only thing is I'm not sure +1 Earth Power actually KOs this. That's my only concern. But are they really going to click follow me here? Probably not either, right? So taunt into you, Earth Power into you, feels fine. As long as we don't get crit. Nice. Okay, Earth Power comes out. Yeah, that does not get the KO, but that's fine. Now that I get this taunt off, Ice Rider is just so much less effective. Beautiful. And that's why we brought Instant into the matchup. I could knock off here. This is actually not that annoying now. There's only 2 turns of terrain left. Good position to potentially look towards pivoting out now. Urshifu should be their 4th, you would think, right? Yeah, I do wish I think I clicked Calm Mind last turn. Because then I could have gone Terra Starstorm here now. I'm down to go knockoff into Ice Rider here. It could be U-turn here, actually, into Ogre Pawn as well. I think I actually like U-turn a little bit more. And Calm Mind again. Because I think Ice Rider switches now. Oh, Ogre switches. Okay. It's fine by me. Into Urshifu. That makes sense. There's another Calm Mind. This is also why I wanted to get Instant out of the field this turn, so then I can switch it back in for an Intimidate into Urshifu. So I'm happy with that. I guess the awkward thing here is we know Ice Rider has to be attacking this turn, so it's going to be clicking Glacial Lance. I don't love eating up a Glacial Lance with either of these, but I think I kind of just have to accept it. Probably better to actually just go into Koraidon, right? Because then I just pressure close combat immediately. Yeah, it's going to hurt, but it's fine. Cool. There's Glacial. -1 Glacial. Yeah, it still does a lot, but Terapagos takes that. This is where the knockoff is actually really relevant, though. If they didn't get that knockoff into Terapagos turn 1, my shell would be back up, right? I think we can go Fire Terra now. Close combat. I mean, the question is, do I Fire Terra here to survive defensively? Because Koraidon fainting isn't even the end of the world, right? Because then Terapagos should just win the end game. So I think it's actually probably fine to just go close combat at third time. Sorry, close combat into Urshifu and then Calm Mind once more. Because we should one-shot Urshifu, right? With Life Orb close combat. And they healed after us, so they're not Choice Scarf either. Beautiful. Okay, perfect. And I'm willing to lose Koraidon here because I think now Terapagos just wins the game, right? Like, you have Miraidon, you have Rock Pawn, you have Ice Rider. How are you going to beat Terapagos? This is also, like, I think a really key reason for Incineroar in this matchup because Leech Seed completely changes the dynamic, right? Knockoff plus Leech Seed should actually be a complete nightmare for Terapagos. The main question here is whether or not it was worth tearing Koraidon just to potentially survive Glacial. It would have been... I would have had 46 HP, right? I would have been Fire Terra, but at -1 defense. Maybe Glacial actually still gets the KO there anyway, which is also why I didn't want to bother. Taunt wears off. No more terrain. Easy switch in back into Instant. But now I think it's finally time to just start attacking with Terapagos. Ideally, they bring in Miraidon here. I think if they bring in Miraidon, we can just click Fake Out into it. Terra Starstorm. But it should be Ogre Pawn. Yep. I think the main scary thing here is a crit, basically, at this point. What do I want to do here? I don't mind going Taunt into Ice Rider. I want to save my Terra, I think, to get rid of electric terrain. But I think Taunt Terra Starstorm here also works because I have Rilla in the back. I think that's fine. The other reasoning for this is to just make sure I get more HP, so even if they crit me with Ivy Cudgel, we're okay on Terapagos. You would think they Cudgel into Instant, though. But I want this for spread damage as well. I also could have just gone, like, Fake Out Calm Mind once more, honestly, or Fake Out Terra Starstorm. So no Sun anymore. Not super relevant. Yeah, they're going to Spiky Shield. I wouldn't be shocked if we were double Protect. Yeah, that makes sense. Fine by me. So that could have been Fake Out Calm Mind. But I think this is fine because I know I've got Rillaboom in the back, right? Which gives me healing. Like, my opponent's only out right now would be crit onto Incin or you Terra Rock this, which would actually be a pretty cool play. But I'm just going to go Taunt Terra Starstorm again. Oh, they just go for Follow Me. Okay. I'm not sure I understand that one, honestly, since Terra Starstorm now is spread. That was the whole idea behind Terraring. Like, I felt like that was a free Ivy Cudgel they could have gone for. And I feel like that should just win us the game for sure, because it takes away any chance of critting, and it means I get Taunt off. So, maybe they just kind of misremembered the speed stats and thought Incineroar was faster than Terapagos there, which is, I think, a reasonable mistake. But I think this game clearly highlights the value of having Taunt on the Incineroar, right? But it's normally going to be Specs, Miraidon in the back. Alright. I could theoretically still lose to Electro Drift critical hit into the Terapagos slot. Well, actually, if I switch into Rilla, even if you crit, I'm probably fine, right? So I think switching in Rilla, Terra Starstorming here is okay. Once we get rid of terrain, it's okay. Although, if there's even any chance of modest max, like, Miraidon to KO, with the crit, I think it's actually probably better to have gone Protect here and then just go Fake Out next turn. It's going to be E-Drift here. Okay. Nice. And now, +3, Terra Starstorm. Nice. They'll go for a Glacial. Probably knocks out Rilla, but that's fine. Free switching back into Incin. You can't Protect. I just go Fake Out Terra Starstorm again. Should be Specs Miraidon, so we should have this game locked up. But I think the knockoff on Ogerpon definitely a cool tech, and one that people do use because obviously knockoff's good into a lot of different things. Removing Terapagos' leftovers is huge, but it's also very good into Shadow Rider, for example. But now Incin just gets to come back in. I think the main mistake I could say in this game was going for Earth Power rather than the second Calm Mind into Ogerpon. I just thought maybe there was a chance we could knock out there, and if we get that KO, then it means you can't redirect Taunt, but in the end, it's not like they ever ended up getting the redirection off, which was nice. So, but I think Ogerpon was scary since, of course, it could have crit my Incineroar with Ivy Cudgel the first time it used it, and then, like I said, the second Follow Me I was kind of surprised by. Like, I think if you're my opponent, the play there is actually potentially Terra Rock with your Ogerpon, Ivy Cudgel Incin, because in the end, like, Terra wasn't committed at all from my opponent's end, right? So they have Terra'd, KO Incin, get Taunt, or sorry, get Leech Seed off, and then you start healing back at least. I still think I win the game with Rilla plus the Terapagos, because I can just go Fake Out into Ice Rider, Earth Power, KO Miraidon, and then it's a 2v1 with grassy terrain. So, like, yes, Leech Seed is healing up a lot, but then it's single target Starstorm with Woodhammer, so I think we're still fine in that. But, like, with no Terra and just Follow Me, like, I felt like the game was instantly locked. We've got Scovillain. Pokemon I was planning on featuring next because it just had a run at the North American International Championships on stream. Obviously, going to be using Spicy Extract. Lunala, Ice Rider, Incin, Rilla, Indeedee. So the main thing is not knowing what kind of Lunala set this is going to be, which always makes things a little bit tricky. Like, do you have Meteor Beam? Because if so, then Instant becomes a lot harder to use. So that's one thing to think about. I think Instant comes out here. I don't have Will-O-Wisp on Volk, so I don't think it actually is that strong. Like, Flutter forces Terra out and is good offense. Thinking Instant, Terapagos lead, Flutter, Koraidon. Let's try it out. Honestly, it's Scoville, and that's a complete wild card for me here, right? Just like haven't really fought against it before. And the Scoville that I've seen was paired on a Koraidon team, which was really cool, but there's no Sun from their end here, which also makes it really interesting. So, let's see. I think into Lunala plus Ice Rider, Terapagos, if you can get a couple Calm Mind boosts, I think just becomes really difficult to deal with, but I'm just thinking about the combination of Scoville and an Ice Rider, but it's NDD plus Ice Rider, which I'm okay with. Let's see if it's Clear Amulet. I would expect it to be. Even if it is, though, what I can do here is just Taunt turn 1 into Calm Mind, right? One thing I theoretically could do is Terra turn 1 just to get rid of Psychic Terrain and Fake Out, but I think that's kind of pointless. Psychic Seed NDD, okay. Good item for them here over something like Goggles or Helmet. Let's see if you are Clear Amulet. Yep, indeed it is. It's fine though. Like Taunt turn 1 into you, Calm Mind. The expectation is I would guess NDD to go for Follow Me and then Ice Rider to Trick Room. They Terra immediately, huh? I mean that's great for Terapagos, so I'll take it. Terra Fire, cool. I get that they wanted to take reduced damage from like Knockoff or Flare Blitz, but I actually don't think they needed to go for that. No Follow Me, which makes me think it might be Glacial Lance turn 1 into Trick Room. So maybe Taunt into Indity would have been better. It's actually high horsepower, that's fine. It goes up, okay. Now it's probably Glacial Lance coming out. Could be another high horsepower, actually. Thinking about Calm Minding again with Terapagos. I want to Taunt into NDD. Go for another Calm Mind. It could be Helping Hand right now. It could be Follow Me. I don't think Follow Me makes that much sense. The question is, do you Glacial... Helping Hand Glacial here? If you had Helping Hand on Indie, I think is the best. Yeah. That'll break my shell. Oh, Instant survives. That's really huge. Nice. That's super clutch. Okay. Taunt the NDD, so now it's stuck in a really tough spot. Probably just Glacial again. Question is whether or not I want to conserve Incineroar. Answer, I think, is no here. Like, I don't think it's worth switching in either of these in. The main thing is I would give Calyrex an attack boost, so I could switch out into Flutter to prevent that. But I think I'd rather give up Instant here, so go for Knockoff here. Terra Starstorm. Okay, into these switches, yep. Scoville comes out. I mean, Glacial should not KO Terapagos, especially after the HP boost, so... I think my main question, my expectation was for Terapagos to have been able to take 2 Helping Hand Glacial Lances. with the first one breaking the shell and then the second one me tearing to heal or get more HP. Yeah, so the Glacial again, but that's fine. Yeah, look how well Terapagos takes that. Nice. So Calyrex gets its first attack boost, but that's fine. 2 turns of Trick Room left after this. So obviously want to consider protecting with my Pokemon. Calyrex actually survives that, which is impressive. Okay. It's a little bit annoying. Would have been nice to get the knockout. It's there. Taunt wears off as well. Like, is this super slow Scovillain and then you spicy extract the... Because, like, I see this as, like, a relatively fast Pokemon, right? But just the way that it's being played makes me think it's going to be slow. It is only base 75 speed, so you could theoretically use, like, Iron Ball Scovillain or something like that. Which is really cool. We know there's Indeedee in the back. Lunala should be my opponent's final Pokemon. We'll bring out Fluttermane here. I think it's honestly fine to go protect Terra Starstorm here. But yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to see some, like, slow Scovillain shenanigans right now. That'd be really interesting. Because I think I also could have just attacked with Flutter here. Okay, cool. Glacial goes off first. I think we're good then. It's not going to do a ton. Well, a little more than I would... And they Seed Bomb, but they target Fluttermane. Wow, if they targeted Terapagos, that may have been a knockout. I don't know if that would have actually gotten the KO because Terapagos is quite bulky, but yeah. But I think that should win us the game because I'm assuming my opponent's last one is Lunala, and now you're up against a boosted Terapagos. But both of those hanging on from the Terra Starstorm was impressive. I actually thought it might be a double knockout there, and it was close, but not enough. Heal back a little bit more. Nice. That turn was scary, though. Like, I think I definitely could have lost this game if the Scovillain just got targeted. Or Scovillain targeted Terapagos. And it's actually Incin Indeedee. Huh. Shocked to not see Lunala being brought into this one. Maybe because my opponent just felt like they didn't have much firepower into Terapagos, but I think Incin just doesn't really offer my opponent much anyway. I'll take it, though. It's the last turn of Trick Room now. I just protected Fluttermane. I'm going to protect Terapagos here. I'm okay just launching a Moonblast into Indeedee. Protect with Terapagos. We know we have Koraidon in the back, so as long as I knock out Indeedee, Koraidon always beats Incin, right? So even if Fluttermane gets doubled up into here, that's fine. Still free switch it into the Koraidon. Yep, they do double up into us, so nicely done. But that's still fine, right? I don't mind that because Trick Room now ends. Okay. So now I get the switch in into Koraidon. Terrain disappears, or sorry, Trick Room disappears. And in this position, I'm happy to just go close combat into Incineroar, Terra Starstorm. Like, the only way we could lose this is if they randomly had Protect on Incin, and they go Protect Trick Room. So maybe it would have been better to target Indeedee, but then there's a world where I, like, target Indeedee, close combat into it, and Indeedee has Protect. Alright, they go for Follow Me. I think Follow Me here always wins us the game, because, like, you never do enough damage to both of my Pokemon, right? So... Nice. Like, I don't think Lunala as my opponent's last Pokemon would have saved them in this one, but I think it would have definitely given them a better shot than Incineroar, which just, like, doesn't provide enough offense into Koraidon. Okay. we survive. Nice. By the way, that could have been an Earth Power. I was just wondering, like, Terra Starstorm covers for Indeedee surviving there, right? And gets damage. And so, yeah. But Instant fades to the close combat there, which is great. So, we didn't get to see what Scovillain really had to offer outside of that Seed Bomb. Like, surely it had Spicy Extract. And it was still quite scary, right? Like, the Ice Rider was putting in a lot of work, and part of the reason for that is because I didn't taunt Indeedee on turn 1. Like, I could have just denied Trick Room, which probably would have made my life a little bit easier. But they got Trick Room up, we stalled it out, it was fine, and Terapagos was just able to dish out so much damage with Terra Starstorm in this one. Okay, classic Zamazenta Shadow Rider here. Incineroar, Fire upon Chien-Pao. So, Flutter, Koraidon, Volk, Terapagos. Low-key, there's a world where we drop Terapagos and just bring Incin, which is actually not bad in this matchup either. Seems a little wild, but I actually think it does make sense. Alternatively, though, I think if we eliminate the Zama, Terapagos kind of cleans. Just easier said than done. I'm really thinking about dropping Terapagos. Then the problem is that I just don't think I have enough offense. But if it's Encore Disable Shadow Rider, this also isn't that great, honestly. Okay, you know what? I am going to drop Terapagos in this one. It's a mix of things, right? Like, they have Fire Ogre Pong, which also means they can take advantage of my Sun and do even more damage. They have Chien-Pao to drop defenses. I think Terapagos just requires a pretty specific position in order to win, but it's way too hard to get to that position. Gorilla CSR. Okay, that works for me. I mean, the expectation here is for them to actually just Terra Shadow Rider immediately on turn 1. They could double protect Woodhammer into Fluttermane as well. Fake out into Koraidon, Astral Barrage is kind of the obvious play. Leaning towards double protecting here. The risk of double protecting is that they switch in Incin and then have Fake Out available the following turn. Right? So, for example, their best play would be protect CSR, switch Rilla out into Incin. Then they could Fake Out Koraidon next turn. But if they do that, I can just hard switch into my Incin, so it's fine. Nice. They stay in with both. I'm happy. The lack of Terra on Calyrex makes me think that they're protecting it this turn. Yeah. So I think the play they went for is protect... and then Woodhammer into Fluttermane to bring it down to Sash, so you could Grassy Glide it next turn. This now means next turn I can just Icy Wind, Fire Terra, Flare Blitz. Ooh, Drum Beating. Even cooler for speed control. So then the question now is whether or not we think this switches out this turn. I think a switch out is quite logical, frankly. Could also be Dark Terra, could be Sash. I'm still leaning towards doubling up into this slot. But there's a part of me that wants to knock out Rillaboom because I think Shadow Rider might switch here. The risk if they don't switch is they Encore me. So I think I'll play it safe here. Icy Wind, Fire Terra, Blitz. But they do switch, yeah. Curious if it's Incin. Yep. Okay. Nice play. Maybe I could have just gone Shadow Ball Flare Blitz this turn. But I think I'm still fine with this because now the Koraidon can just freely target the Rillaboom slot next turn. They're going to have to fake us out, I think. Ah, I like this play a lot. Switch and Terra. This covers for me actually targeting Rillaboom with the Flare Blitz this turn. I think that's smart. Water? Yeah. I think that's very smart. play a lot by my opponent. Like, the only way I could have really punished this would have been launching close combat into Instant, which seems kind of crazy. That being said, Flare Blitz still probably does a solid 35-40% here, if not more. Yeah. It's no joke. It is going to be Helmet, though, so we'll take some recoil and Life Orb. Beating into Flutter. Okay, that obviously puts me in Grassy Glide KO range, so I have to be a little bit careful now. But now that you've Terra'd your Rillaboom, it means you can't Terra Shadow Rider, which is also a big deal, right? I'm going to switch in Volcarona right now. And go for a Protect. And Koraidon. Yeah, like, there's no point in this battle right now where I'm like, oh, I wish I had Terapagos instead, which I think is a good sign. It means that it was right to drop it. Rilla hard switches. Maybe out into Shadow Rider. I like that play a lot. I think that's very solid. They've been, I think, making some very good predictions in this game. So that's one thing I want to kind of think about adjusting towards. My guess is they click Fake Out into Koraidon here, but the next one I can just switch out into Instant. Yeah, great play. Saying, hey, I know you think I'm going to click Grassy Glide, so why not pivot out instead? I think that actually swings a lot of momentum into their favor, which is a little bit scary for us, but that's okay. I do have Overheat in the Sun. I don't think that KO CSR, though. So the play I'm leaning towards is actually going for a Struggle Bug here. Switch in Instant. It's been an interesting trade of resources in the early game. Struggle Bug plus Morning Sun plus Rocky Helmet I think should be really annoying for them to deal with. It's actually Helping Hand. Oh, okay, that's a really good move for them to have. It's scary because it means I'm not sure confident in Volk being able to survive through. Okay, yeah, we survived this turn, which is good. And their Life Orb, okay. Struggle Bug connects, that's also good. They could obviously Helping Hand again right now. They could also switch Instant out into Rilla. I personally am leaning towards clicking Morning Sun here. Heal back up. And then knock off into Shadow Rider. They could just Astro again here. Okay, they Protect. That's fine, because it means I get a Morning Sun off. Which is a huge deal. And I think most of the time people won't expect this move on Volcarona, so... yeah, like that heals us up so much, which is huge. My guess is they're going to Parting Shot into Rillaboom. Yep. That's fine, though. You could finally go out into Zamazenta. I don't think that's the right one, though. I think it makes sense to go into Rilla, especially with the Water Terra. But they do go into Zama. Oh, interesting. Okay. Huh. Well, I have Overheat right now available for us. Terrain disappears. You could just Body Press me, but I could just Rage Powder, right? Rage Powder knockoff? Okay, they do switch, though. It's been such a big, like, cat and mouse game, I feel like. This is still fine, though, in my opinion. Like, the whole reason Volk was brought in this matchup was to deal with Zamazenta. But the other play I was thinking about was switching Instant out and just overheating Zom, which would have been really nice here. But I'm still okay with this outcome. Yeah, you can see that just does not do that much damage. Okay, no more Rocky Helmet for you. You would think they fake out Volk Body Press, right? I would actually double up onto Volk knowing that it has Morning Sun. But they might just fake out Volk Body Press Instant. I think a somewhat safe play is Morning Sun here, switch into Flutter Mane. Okay, they switch. Probably into Shadow Rider. It means you give up your defense boost for the rest of this game. It's been a crazy positioning battle, honestly. Flutter Mane in. Yep, fake out into Volk. This is a big turn. I don't think they're just going to risk me Shadow Balling this is the thing. Basically what I can do right now is just hard switch into Koraidon, turn on the Sun, and Shadow Ball this, but I think they've been playing so defensive this whole game. If I were them then, and I wanted to play defensive, I would pivot this out into Rillaboom and protect here. So I'm thinking of going for Morning Sun here and making the call and Moonblasting into Instant. This is a big turn. I think like this is the most important turn of the game. But they protect. Okay, nice. I just like it felt like this entire game my opponent has just been playing really defensively, and that's why I was willing to make this play, right? It's like every constant window that they have, they're making the kind of safe defensive switch. And I figured it was finally time to make a prediction. The thing is, now that I've shown that I'm willing to make a read like this, they've got to be a little bit more hesitant. But if you switch out Rillaboom, which they are going to do right now, obviously you're going to want to knock out the Flutter Mane, right? Like fake out Astro Barrage, kind of the obvious play for them to go for. Sorry, not fake out Astro Barrage, Grassy Glide Astro Barrage. So the play I'm actually thinking about is clicking Overheat into Shadow Rider and going into Koraidon. What's the alternative? Grassy Glide into here. So I can switch in Instant for that slot too. Just where do I go from there? Okay, I'm gonna go Overheat, switching Koraidon. With the hope of just nuking Shadow Rider after Life Orb hit. Sun is active. Yep, we have to Grassy Glide us here. They nasty plot. Oh, okay. Does Overheat connect? It does. Does it KO in Sun? That would have won us the game, but that's okay. They still will faint from one more Life Orb hit, which is the key part of this. I think what I can do now is switch out into Incineroar and close combat into Rillaboom. The reason I'm close combating here is because they might be incentivized to actually protect Shadow Rider to get one more tick of Leftovers recovery. Sorry, a Grassy Terrain recovery, so that you don't faint to an Astro Barrage. If they do that, then I can knock out Rillaboom with close combat, right? Which is a big deal. Because if Rilla faints, then Shadow Rider is going to be slower than Flutter Mane. Yep, exactly. And even if they Astral Barrage there, it's fine, right? Like, yeah, I lose Koraidon, maybe lose Instant, but then the end game is Volcarona plus Flutter Mane into Rilla plus the Zom. So I'm really happy to use this game as an example of like dropping Restricted. Because I think all of our Pokemon were super essential in this game. And like I don't think Terapagos would have done anything for us. Okay. Also, my Koraidon has just disappeared from the battle. Zom comes back out. I can fake out into you. I'm just trying to think. Fake out into Zom. Fake out Protect is a weird play, but I actually think it makes sense here. Because the goal is essentially to just make Calyrex attack twice. Yeah, I actually think Fake Out Protect works here. I guess alternatively, do I need to click Fake Out? It could be Knockoff. Yeah, because I actually want Instant to faint. So, Knockoff Protect. And the idea here is, as long as if Instant faints, Flutter Mane comes in for free, and then I can just Shadow Ball Flare Blitz, right? But yeah, I feel like I was getting a little bit frustrated from like the defensive reads in the early game, so I was like, you know what, it's just time to turn on the dial a little bit. So Instant faints, that's perfect. I guess it could have been Fake Out to deny a Iron defense here, which actually may have been better. Okay. Now we get Flutter in. Okay. 2 turns of Sunlight means they need a double protect, right? Because Shadow Ball here, Flare Blitz here is a double KO. Even if they get the double, it's fine, right? The only way they could win this is a double protect. Which is a, what, 1 in 9 chance. Oh, they don't even protect with Zama. Okay. Well, Koraidon should just outpace and one-shot it. Cool. Beautiful. And this is what they give for getting rid of that defense boost, right? We just become even stronger. And yeah, this just takes away any win condition. Like their goal is to stall out the sun and then just Astro Barrage everything. But now, even though there's only 1 turn of sun left, all I have to do is just switch Koraidon Shadow Ball, and then even if they get the double protect, I can just switch it back in. Yeah, so they're gonna attempt the double, but like I said, it doesn't matter. And they don't get it, but even if they did, Koraidon just comes back in, resets the sun. I think this endgame would have been a lot scarier if there was only 1 turn of sun left. But fortunately, we had just enough, which was huge. But like I was saying, if you double protect, then you have Calyrex and Zama. By knocking out the Zama, it just means I can like safely switch out and always target the Flutter Mane slot. So I think even if Zama had just protected, then the following turn, if you get the double actually, just with Shadow Rider, Zama can knock out the Flutter Mane, right? Because I'm Shadow Balling that slot. So that may have just been enough for my opponent. But maybe they were hoping to like survive the Flare Blitz there. But I didn't think Zama would be able to survive Life Orb Flare Blitz in Sun, given that they didn't have their defense boost anymore. This team was also on my 2 feature list. It was brought out at the Portland Regional Championships by one of the most creative team builders in North America. And it features Solgaleo and Calyrex Shadow Rider, and the idea is that you can bulldoze Solgaleo, give it a weakness policy boost, and then make it really powerful. I almost low-key wonder, like, whether or not I want Terapagos here. I mean, if we knock out Solgaleo, it's good. It's just Terapagos actually is going to be really subpar into Solgaleo, right? So the main lead to respect is just Shadow Rider Solgaleo, to which I think we can go Flutter Mane Koraidon, because I can just Icy Wind Flame Charge KO Shadow Rider. Yeah. I think the moveset was Sunsteel Strike, Psychic Fangs. Was it Rock Terra Rock Slide? If I remember correctly. Which would be very bad news for Volcarona. I don't even want to bring outside of these two. It could be Rillaboom. Ensign's not going to be good into their Ensign. Rillaboom just doesn't do damage. Terapagos. I think I'll bring Rillaboom because it gives me terrain. So Grassy Terrain plus Leftovers is nice. But yeah, I think Flutter Koraidon are easily the most 2 important Pokemon here, so I need to play well with them. Because I think if they go down early, like I have no answer to Solgaleo. My offense mainly hinges off these 2. Yeah, it is Calyrex Solgaleo. Okay. The main thing here on turn 1 is like they could go protect Shadow Rider, Rock Terra, Solgaleo, Rock Slide, but they could just bulldoze immediately, activate policy as well. Right, like I could deny the weakness policy by just clicking Icy Wind Flame Charge, but what they could do is protect Shadow Rider turn 1 and then switch it out on turn 2. So the other world I'm contemplating is just double protecting, but if I double protect, they get the bulldoze off should they click it, which is not ideal. So I think I'm going to go Icy Wind. I might not Flame Charge. I might actually... but they could Psychic Fangs me then, right? Because I was thinking they could click Rock Slide here. My guess, if I were them, I would protect Sunsteel Strike, Rock Terra this. But I think I'll go Icy Wind here and just Flare Blitz into Calyrex. Okay, good start already. Solgaleo switches. I mean, Calyrex maybe protects here then. Don't think this helps it survive the Life Orb Flare Blitz, but let's see. Because Calyrex here shouldn't have bulk. My guess is Calyrex may just protect here instead. Ooh. What Terra is this? I mean, if this is Terra Water, this is really good. Uh-oh. That was an awesome turn 1 play by them. Okay. That was really nice. And it's actually like a really hard play to punish, right? Because like the only way I have enough offense for this Calyrex turn 1 would be close combating it. Oh my gosh, that's so much still. I think I survive Astro though, as long as you are not Life Orbed, and it should be Focus Ashed. And if that's the case, I actually don't mind this trade. Yeah, we're fine. Okay. -1 speed now. I'm actually thinking about Stellar Tearing here, because that should give me the knock damage I need to KO Calyrex. Like, you should probably fake out Koraidon here, but this could protect and you could target Flutter. I don't think I need a Terra either of these. Do I need a Terra Terapagos or Rillaboom? I also don't think so, quite frankly. So yeah, Terra Stellar here, Moonblast into you, CC into you. That was a very nice turn 1. I think using the bait of Solgaleo to say you have to respect this right now, but also going for Water Terror to go for the offensive play that I did to cover for like trying to knock out Calyrex. Calyrex protects, that's fine. Like, the best that they could do is probably protect Fake Out. Yeah, but they don't go for Fake Out. Okay, cool. So Life Orb close combat. Beautiful. Now, I think the main out they could have is getting a free switch into Grim or Water Pawn. I would have guessed that they brought Landorus into this one, though. Like, if it's Grim or Water Pawn, you have at least redirection, right? Maybe it should have been Instant, though. Now, like, well, like, Instant would have been good if it was Water Pawn. If it's Grim, I can just go Protect, Switch, and Rilla, which is really good. I also have to respect the possibility that they bring something out and then hard switch and then Bulldoze to activate Weakness Policy. So we want to show respect to that option. Yep, it's Landorus. Okay, cool. It's Landorus here. Could Stellar Shadow Ball this always. Probably want to just switch Koraidon out here, honestly. Go out into Rilla. Get rid of the Intimidate. Stellar Shadow into you. Switch in Rillaboom. That feels fine. I think basically the thing here is, like, I can't knock out both Pokemon since I'm intimidated on the Koraidon. Otherwise, I could just, like, Moonblast Flare Blitz. Shadow Ball here covers for CSR and switching into Solgaleo. Yep. That's what they're going to go for. So the other play I could have gone for here was Icy Wind, Flare Blitz, KO Landorus, but like if Landorus protects and they just Astral, that's really bad, so I don't want to take that risk. This is going to activate Weakness Policy, but it's also going to do so much damage, and that's what's most important. And by so much, I mean it gets a one-hit knockout. Oh my goodness. This game actually proving why you run Stellar Terra on the Flutter main, as they Earth Power us, but now the game should be locked since we have Grassy Glide into the Shadow Rider slot, right? Cool. Bring out Koraidon here. And I can just go Grassy Glide and Flare Blitz. Shadow Rider back in. Okay. Just double check everything. 2 turns of Sun, which is perfect. So, Flare Blitz into you. Grassy Glide into you. You can double protect here if you're my opponent, but then I just go for the same play next turn. Maybe their best bet is, if they're really bulky landers, protect Shadow Rider and Sludge Bomb. But the thing is, Sludge Bomb doesn't KO me unless you crit. Not even sure crit KOs. Probably. But I think the main thing was, even though my opponent got a big Astral Barrage off on turn 1, recognizing that Flutter was really good offensively here, and denying Solgaleo the weakness policy was huge. And also recognizing that Terapagos was not the right Pokemon to lead here, I think was also important. Because I think if I lead Terapagos, I actually kind of get wrecked by Bulldoze. Okay, they protect Shadow Rider, not going to protect Landorus, that's fine. Get Life Orb Flare Blitz in the Sun here, and that's a one-hit KO. Beautiful. That's why we switched it. Reset that Intimidate. I'll lose Koraidon, but Rilla just wins the game now. So yeah, still have debate. Is Incin better to bring into this one? I really think the answer is no, and I don't like Volcarona either, especially knowing that it's Rock Slide on Solgaleo. And like, I didn't even think about Water Terra CSR, but having Rillaboom alone is super helpful in this endgame for the Shadow Rider. But now I can just Terra Starstorm and Grassy Glide. So, yeah, this one was us utilizing Fluttermane's offense, which was actually really nice. And then Koraidon was also just so powerful, right? Like, yeah, it lost 70% of its health on turn 1, but it allowed me to one-shot 2 different Pokemon in Incineroar and Landorus. So, Grassy Glide comes out, and that cleanly knocks out Shadow Rider. But I think that was a really nice play by my opponent on turn 1. It was really tough for them, I think, like, because basically with Fluttermane having this immunity to Fake Out, like, and having the speed boost against the Shadow Rider, like, I'm thinking, I don't know, if they had hard switched Shadow Rider out immediately the turn that I went Stellar Terra Moonblast and brought in the Solgaleo there while clicking Fake Out into Koraidon, I would have been in a slightly scarier position, but because I was able to just like one-shot the Incin, kind of opened the game up for us, which was really nice. Ooh, okay. Koraidon, Terapagos. This is, I think, the Electric Sea Terapagos stuff that has popped up at some of the majors by some really powerful Italian players. What do we want to do? Struggle Bug Volk seems really solid here. Normally, we're going to want to bring Rillaboom into this kind of stuff. Incin does have Taunt, though. Can also Calm Mind with our own Terapagos. I think the initial version of this team was Water Terra Urshifu. But I think we drop Fluttermane here. We should be bringing Rillaboom into this matchup. I want Volk, I think. Rilla, Pagos, Koraidon, Volk. I'm just a little bit worried about Ursh here into us, I think. That's the main thing that spooks me out. I think it's Water Terra Surging Scarf Ursh on the initial version of this team, which is a lot easier to deal with than Choice Band. Pagos, Koraidon, okay. Not bad for us. Change the terrain immediately. speed is really annoying, though. I think I'm down to just fake out Terapagos Calm Mind turn 1. But then this can Volt Switch out into Urshifu, huh? With Shell and Leftovers, I think we might be okay. Koraidon switches. Kind of surprised by that. Didn't expect the hard switch. It's into Incineroar as well, so I'll take that. Okay. Fake out. Calm Mind. Now I can switch in Koraidon or Volcarona. Could fake out either slot. Like, I want to save Koraidon until the end game, right? Where I get some damage onto Terapagos. So I think switching to Volk here, and I'm down to click Calm Mind again. It's probably fake out into the Terapagos slot, but if not, great. Yep. And I'm okay with this because now I have Struggle Bug plus Calm Mind, so I can outtrade my opponent. And that's the most important part of this. Like, instant probably parting shots now, but that's okay. Because I think Struggle Bug gives us the advantage that I need. So, Struggle Bug now, Calm Mind. So it's like you can keep increasing your special defense, but you're never going to get special attack boosts, and that's really valuable for us. The main question is, like, instant probably parting shots here, and then goes out into Koraidon, so then where do we go from there? Okay. Yep, they Calm Mind. And I like the special defense boosts are fine because we have physical damage with Rillaboom as well as the Koraidon. Oh, I think I should go for knockoff. Okay, that works for me. I mean, Leftovers is obviously a key item here, but Rillaboom still gives us recovery, so that's okay for me. I'm gonna just Struggle Bug Calm Mind again, honestly, I think. And the other part of me wants to just Earth Power right now. Not completely against it. But I also think a third one is okay here. It's just that they might... Was it Assault Vest on the team? I don't remember. I think I'd rather Calm Mind. Okay. I can't tell if it's AV based on the damage we're doing to Ensign. I feel like it is. So they're going to keep Calm Minding, but I'm fine with this, right? Like, you get special defense boost, but no special attack boosts. Parting Shot is what I expect now, finally. But here's another Calm Mind. Yep, there it is. Okay. So maybe it would have been better to just Earth Power there, but I don't know. I'll take the special defense boost still. Now you can go out into Koraidon. Koraidon's interesting, right? Because you could Volt Switch. You could just launch an Electro Drift. You could Draco Meteor. Like, I think Vulcan to Rilla makes sense. And then Earth Power Koraidon. Because I think it's like, if we conserve the Volk all the way until the end game, I can just keep clicking Struggle Bug onto Terapagos, right? And KO everything around it. I wouldn't be surprised if they Volt Switch here, but let's see. Yeah. Into Pagos, actually. Okay. It's fine. Let's see what comes in. Could be Sinistra. Nope, it's instant. Alright, great. I get an Earth Power into that. I will take it. No complaints from me. This is a crazy game, though, because, like, both of us are just going to click Calm Mind so many times throughout the course of it. Yeah, we don't knock out. That's why earlier I didn't want to go Struggle Bug Earth Power and then get brought down to minus, just be +1 instead of +2. They are +2 now, which is a little bit scary. I'm happy to fake out Pagos here. I mean, we should trade fake outs, right? Which I think is fine. There's just a part of me that wants to switch Rilla out into Koraidon or Volcarona. I actually don't mind that, yeah. Calm Mind again. But it is scary because they have got into +2, right? Like, it's not like I'm actually winning the war a ton right now. Oh, Pagos protects. Interesting. I wonder if they, like, Flare Blitzed here. No, just fake out protect. Huh. I think that's a big turn for us, quite frankly, because it means they don't get another free boost. So I'm happy to Struggle Bug now and get the knockout onto Instant. It was nice that my opponent, like, the Volt Switch play on my Pagos was a really smart play. Because if they had stayed in with Koraidon locked into Electro Drift, I think it would be considerably worse. But yeah, this is kind of a slogfest, and that's what a lot of games with Terapagos can look like. You have to have a lot of patience. Okay, we finally see a Terra commit. I think I'm okay with this. Like, it's only going to be at +1 after this turn. That feels fine. No more terrain. Struggle Bug. Terra Stars going from their end. Yeah, it's really not doing a ton of damage there. That's fine. Like, the key thing here is at the end of the day, I'll have a restricted that is able to hit my opponents for super effective. And they're restricted in Koraidon, I think, is really not that scary. Koraidon hits the field now. Pretty easy to switch back out into Rilla. Rilla Earth Power. Alternatively, I have Grass Terra here, so I could Grass Terra this to survive a Grass, like, a electric type attack, but they might just Draco Meteor me, which I don't love. Yeah, like, I think it's important to conserve Volcarona, so I'll switch in Rilla here. And Earth Power. We still don't know what their last one is, so my guess is that they're going to Volt Switch out again. But then we finally confirm what the final one is, and if it's Urshifu, for example, I can just fake out Terra Star Storm or Earth Power you. Okay, it's Snarl. That's fine. Terra Star Storm. Like, the main thing is you're just not doing much damage to my Terapagos, whereas my Terapagos is doing a lot to whatever is next to Terapagos, right? And, like, yeah, they're barely denting me. But Assault Vesperilla on the, or Koraidon on the opposing side makes this a little bit more annoying. I could fake out Calm Mind again, which I don't hate. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. They switch. Interesting. Urshifu finally? Sinistra. I mean, right now, we're honestly kind of in a holding pattern where I'm waiting for Koraidon to hit the field. This is just so long and drawn out, but I just need to be patient because endgame Koraidon should be fantastic for us here. They should also be Focus Sash Terapagos on their end. It's probably time to Terra Terapagos so I can start doing damage. Like U-turn, Terra Starstorm. There's also a part of me that wants to just Woodhammer here, because I don't want to like just switch into either of these, quite frankly. I might do that instead, actually. Woodhammer, Terra Starstorm. It's been a really bizarre game, that's for sure, but I still favor my position. Especially with Koraidon waiting in the back. Okay. We're gonna try to Starstorm us. Yep. I actually think I was fine to U-turn here since we're slower than Terapagos. Yeah. They Shadow Ball that slot. Rilla faints, but I actually think that's fine. Now it's the free switching back into Volk. Struggle Bug, Terra Starstorm. Okay, nice. It's a crit on Sinistra. That may have mattered. Actually, really not sure what that calc looks like. I can go into Koraidon. Close combat immediately. The thing is, they also only have limited PP with Terapagos, right? So I think I will go Koraidon finally. Honestly, the main question here is whether or not Koraidon Life Orb close combat KOs the Terapagos. Because if it does, then I think like we could just go for close combat into it. And I think that's the biggest question. The main problem here is the fact that Terra Shell is, or not Terra Shell, like they have Electric Seed, but like, I don't know. Because the alternative is we try to go for the one-hit KO onto Koraidon. I think I'm just going to close combat Terra Starstorm here. Okay, no protect. Nice. That could have been scary, by the way, because they totally could have protected Terapagos. So in some ways, it feels like a 50-50. If you target Terapagos there, or sorry, if you protect Terapagos, obviously could target the Koraidon slot. They did Draco as well. So what the end game would have boiled down to if they had protected there is... I also clicked Terra Starstorm because I wasn't confident I'd KO, but I was like, I'll do enough damage where then a Terra Starstorm should finish you off, and then I think I can win the 2v1 with Volk plus Terapagos into my opponent's Koraidon. Because it means you would have had Draco Meteor to me. But now we win the game. But yeah, it was crazy. This entire game came down to like when I get Koraidon out on the field and then clicking close combat with it. Also, by the way, critting the Sinistra may have actually worked against me. If I didn't crit, I would get a free switch into Volk, and I can just Struggle Bug to drop your special attack Calm Mind once more. or just Terra Starstorm. What do I want to do here? We can still get crit, so that's the main thing we want to respect. I think it's fine. It's just Rage Powder plus Earth Power here. Yeah. Whew. That, like, these games are total marathons when you play with this team, but that's what you have to accept. But you just have to be really patient. My whole plan was, like, never switching Koraidon until it's finally time to have an opportunity to click close combat. And we found the opportunity, fortunately. But, yeah, it would have been interesting to see how that game would have played out if they ended up protecting Terapagos there. Opposing Pagos, Shadow Rider, Grim, Volk, Hands, Amoonguss. Ugh. Both of us having Volk and Terapagos makes this kind of scary. Like, but we have Koraidon, which should give us a huge edge, right? Just the classic debate of, like, who I actually end up dropping. Like, Instant has value here. I might actually just lead Koraidon and play super aggressively with it. Like, we both probably want to just get Calm Minds off in this one. Instant, Koraidon, Pagos, Volk. Rilla, like, just heals them up as well. And they have some things that are annoying for it, like Volk. Flutter is, like, tempting from an offensive standpoint, but terrible into Terapagos. So that doesn't make me feel great. Let's see what they bring. Pagos and Grim. I mean, this works for me, right? Like, I can just fake out close combat Terapagos immediately. You would guess that they protect on turn 1, so the play I'm leaning towards is just deny screens, fake out Fire Terra Flare Blitz. On Grim. Like, this is always the safest play, in my opinion. They have no switching into it either. But there's a world where they just Terra Terapagos turn 1 and attack. And there's a world where this is Choice Specs Terapagos. So let's see. Because from their standpoint, they could say, hey, like, fake out close combat into a protect, that's really risky for you. Yeah, they didn't go for a protect, so I could have just knocked out Terapagos immediate. What? Well, that is very bad for us. Okay, target's instant instead of Koraidon at least, but still. Oh, man. That is going to be very hard to come back from. Covert Cloak fake out. The perfect tech for them in this spot. It's going to spell a little bit of disaster for me. Okay. How do I even come back from that turn 1? Because, like, I haven't even broken the shell. And I'm going to go Volk here. I think what I can do is protect Overheat, Rage Powder, Close Combat, but that was... It could not have been a more bad turn 1. I'm going to Overheat here to make sure I break Shell, Protect, to block Thunderwave, and potential Terra Starstorm. They could just protect Terapagos and screens now, honestly. Oh my gosh, they Thunderwave correctly into Volk. Nicely done. And it's still fine, as long as I hit the Overheat. Nice read. Doubling up onto Volk. That almost just KOs me. Oh, I mean, yeah, like, they've played outstandingly these first 2 turns, but if we hit that, then I can just Rage Powder and attack. I think I don't know how I can win this now, honestly. Meteor Beam plus Covert Cloak is a disaster for us, and I'm never going to anticipate that in a best of 1. What can I even do? They'll Thunder Wave, Terra Starstorm. That was so bad. I guess I'll Rage Powder. Rage Powder Blitz. The other play I thought about, by the way, is close combating Terapagos, hoping they would like mess up and like Thunder Wave and Terra there. But they didn't Terra, so. And I just can't afford to get Thunder Wave right now, which is why I'm going for this. But the problem is now my opponent just goes Shadow Rider, I think. Outstanding turn 2 play, doubling up onto Volk. I think it's like, even if I didn't get fully paralyzed, it still would have been a really big uphill battle, but the full para means like I still don't really see a path to victory right now. The Covert Cloak just completely messed me up in this one. And that's why I think Covert Cloak Grim is legitimately one of the best sets in close team C best of 1. Okay, they bring out Volk. Rage Powder, Terra your Terapagos, Terra Starstorm now seems fairly safe. Guess I'll Calm Mind, Protect. I think I've just like fallen down way too many resources though, right? Power Meteor Beam one-shotting Ensign is so bad because Ensign's like quite nice into Shadow Rider in the end game. But really good stuff by my opponent. Okay, they didn't Terra, which was interesting. Like, if I somehow get a double Protect... I mean, the question is whether or not even... Oh my gosh, they targeted Terapagos! They're just reading my Protect every turn. But I think that makes sense, because even if I had Flare Blitz Volcarona, I just take way too much recoil damage. I'm guessing they're Rocky Helmet as well. Flame Charge Terra Starstorm, double up on a Volk, could have done something for me there, I think. But wow, nicely done. Yeah, Flame Charge Terra Starstorm actually got that knockout. The thing is, I just haven't even broken the shell here. That's where that pair on Volk was really bad. I think I'm too far behind in this game to win with just Terapagos. So I'm going in for a Hail Mary play, which is close combating this, hoping they, like, mess up. But, like, follow me. Terra their Terapagos should always win, right? Or Rage Powder Terra Terapagos. So I'm going for this play because I'm like, hey, if for some reason you messed up and you did not click Rage Powder and you clicked any other move, close combat here could actually maybe pull something off for us. It's like, I've accepted that this game is lost unless my opponent for some reason makes a mistake or he misclicks, for example. But they Rage Powder, yeah. Like, Rage Powder Terra Starstorm always wins the game, so I might as well go for this. Like, there's no point in trying to Flare Blitz here, in my opinion. But this was just clinical, like really nicely done. One, my opponent read every turn, basically, all the protects. But to be honest, like even if I were going for attacks on those turns that I protected, I don't think the outcome changes. Like the lead on turn 1 was just so abysmally bad, and I fell behind way too much, way too quickly. And yeah, having Volk for that protection was also really quite nice. How would I play the game differently now knowing it's Covert Cloak Grim and Power or Meteor Beam Terapagos? Starstorm doesn't even KO there. Like maybe it's Flutter Mane then, because I can get some Moonblasts off with it early. Like I would consider bringing Flutter Mane in this if we were to replay this one again, because I could just Moonblast Grimmsnarl, because I know now you're not light screen. So like it could be Flutter Koraidon, for example. Protect turn 1, Moonblast or Icy Wind, and then play the game from there. But I do think fast Power or Meteor Beam Terapagos makes this really tricky. It could have been my own Terapagos leading it with like Ensign, fake out into their Terapagos, Calm Mind turn 1, and try to just like get a lot of Calm Minds off with Terapagos early. I think that's probably the other approach. Instead of playing like more aggro with Instant Koraidon, go Terapagos early and then just try to Calm Mind a couple of times because they can only boost themselves once, whereas I can boost myself multiple times. But yeah, they didn't even need a second restricted there, which was really impressive. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you so much, as always, for joining me. Really fun to be able to feature some of the champion teams from other age divisions in competitive VGC. So hope you enjoyed watching this one. I know it was a pleasure to see it in the finals of NAIC and see it win the entire tournament. And very cool to feature this more unorthodox restricted duo in Koraidon plus Terapagos. So thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll see you all next time. All right. Peace.